holy. So basically, Rav Nachman uses the same word that he used at the beginning in the first lesson. Halimud eno b'chashivut kol kach. So the chen and the chashivut is all the malchut of kedusha. It's all the sparks of holiness that we need to elevate, that are stuck now on the other side because of not doing this sweetening all these sins and judgment. So when a person is learning for himself, he's basically, instead of revealing God's kingdom and fixing the kingdom, through the fixing of the speech, he's doing the opposite. There's a blemish here in the speech because his learning, his speech that's coming out, is for his own personal kingdom, right? He wants to become king, anayim loch, right? He wants to rule over a community or whatever, right? His intentions are bad. But when a person, so this is when a person's learning in a bad intention. But when a person learns at night, shelo balayla chut shel chesed nimshach alav umagen alav shelo yazik lo hamachshava anav. When a person learns in the nighttime, so Chazal say in Masechet Brachot that this wind of kindness, of chesed, comes onto him and protects him throughout the day, that from this negative thought, this thought of learning with the wrong intention. So at the end of the Torah here, Rav Nachman says that this negative thought is actually the snake. So the snake, right, the other side, he wants you always to learn for yourself, because he knows that the fixing of the kingdom, right, to reunify between your heart and mind, it all depends on doing this process that we said, that depends on learning Torah and taking which kind of Torah, this Torah of like this dark Torah, right, where you're fixing the darkness, the dark part, which is the sins that you fell into, right? So the Yetzer Hara knows, the other side knows that your whole tikkun, your fixing of your malchut depends on that. So he tries to get you to learn for the sake of becoming a rebbe or to get respect and stuff like that. Because he wants you to fall. As soon as you fall into that thought, straight away he takes all the sparks of holiness from all the learning you do and the mitzvahs you do, right? He's taking, if a person's any type of taiva or bad characteristic and stuff that he does, it straight away goes to the other side. So even when a person is learning, when he learns and his intention is the wrong intention, it's just strengthening and building the bad from within him, meaning it's giving the other side the strength. So this chut shel chesed, this little string of chesed that comes onto a person, this wind of kindness, is basically that it gives him the ability throughout the day and throughout his life. When a person learns at night, gives him this way of just seeing the chesed from within everything. And it kind of could be what Rav Nachman's saying here also, is that it all kind of depends on the chesed, because this whole process that we said of taking the sin and then finding from within it those little nekudas of mitzvah, right? That's chesed. That's looking, it's judging yourself in a positive way, and what you're leaning onto is the chesed of Hashem, just the mercy of Hashem, that Hashem is looking at that one little nekuda tova of mitzvah, and with that little thing, even though it's a tiny little percentage in comparison to all the sins you did, but it's mamish, it can flip the entire thing into positive, into good, by focusing on that chesed. So that's the chut shel chesed that's on a person. V'ita b'kidvei ha'Arizal zichrono livracha, it says in the Arizal, כי הציפורים שבקליפה הם מוחין שבמלכות דקליפה, that the birds, where these melodies, right, the birds that are in the klipa, the birds that come from the other side, they're the moichin of the malchut of klipa. So like we said, they get their strength from the moichin of the kingdom of the other side, right? The whole kingdom of the other side, the brain of the kingdom of the other side. That's where it gets. The Rizal says that the two birds that come from the side of holiness, they're the building of the malchut of kedusha. They mamish unify. In other words, the birds are this speech, right? When a person fixes his speech and he's always speaking and hearing this melody, the positive melody, through that he builds and it fixes his malchut of kedusha. That's why they're called the pure birds. And again, it's important to remember these birds correspond to the kruvim, where all the prophecy, all the Torah we have, right, from when we built the Mishkan, Parshat Vayikra, straight away Hashem was speaking to Moshe Rabbeinu between these two kruvim, and the whole Torah, everything that we have, right, was mamish brought down through there. So all the prophecy that came down to Moshe Rabbeinu, he received it through between these two birds, and these two birds, Rav Nachman says that they correspond to the children that he talks about in Reish Pei Bet, that have a hevel peh, the speech that has no. So that's basically, it's tapping into like the source of prophecy, right? If a person wants to start hearing, prophecy and being able to, because Hashem's talking to us, the Torah is talking to us at all times, right? Telling us, guiding us how to, walk in the world, what's the right thing to do, the wrong thing. We don't hear the melody because we're hearing the other melody. But if a person can tap into that positive way of thinking and speaking, what he does is he's tapping into the source of where the prophecy comes from, and he can start hearing that positive melody, which is that prophecy. לפיכך נשתבח דוד לפני שאול ויודע נגן. For this reason, it says in Shmuel Aleph, chapter 16, that David HaMelech was praised before Shaul, that he knows, Shaul HaMelech wanted to, he was having he was, I think, confused, and he needed to have a settled mind and come to a state of happiness in order so that he could receive a prophecy and come out of the state that he was in. So he was looking for a musician, and they brought David HaMelech to play this instrument before him, play the harp. I think it was the harp. כי הנגינה היא בניין המלכות, לכך ראוי הוא למלכות. So he was praised how beautifully he played these melodies, and the reason what the Torah is teaching us is that because David HaMelech was the melody is the source of the building, the fixing and building of the kingdom of holiness. So that's why David HaMelech could be king. It was a sign that David HaMelech had this aspect of Malchut, where he could mamish be a king over the entire nation, rule over his whole being, because he had the melody, the secret of the melody, which is the melody I spoke about. כי הנגינה היא בניין המלכות, לכך ראוי למלכות, וזה שכתוב אצלו, מאחר עלות הביאו, היינו מאחר המניקות, היינו נצח והוד, כי הם מניקים לנביאים, והם בניין המלכות. So it says, Ma'achar alot. So the Pasuk at Tehillim says that, David HaMelech says that he was brought from behind, Ma'achar alot, which means behind the Kedusha. So you have the holiness, right, the kingdom of holiness, and then behind the kingdom of holiness is the other kingdom, the other side, right? So David HaMelech, Hashem brought him from behind the kingdom of holiness. From there, in other words, it's a little bit difficult to explain it in these words that Rav Nachman is bringing here, but at the end of the lesson, Rav Natan explains it, that David HaMelech, because he had the secret of the melody, which means he knew how to elevate these sparks of holiness that were stuck in the other side, right? That's why he was chosen to be king. Which means in order for me to come to that David HaMelech, to that Malchut, right? To come out of your state of exile and come to your kingdom, what does it depend on? It depends on being able to go to Acharalot, to the, where the other side is, to the sins, right? And find from within there the little sparks of holiness and elevate it and lift it up through that melody, and through that you get your kingdom. Reunify your heart and your mind. I think we'll stop over here. Zat Hashem will continue in a little while.